looks like it's still 0.
For me, it says it is recording now.
All right. Well, welcome to the Sunday afternoon call. It's just a little after 4 o'clock Thai time. And that today, let's start by talking about doubt. If anybody has any questions or change of topics, that's fine. We can do that. The first thing to say about doubt is that it is listed as one of the hindrances. Now, the hindrances would be kind of a collection. They have it listed as 5 different hindrances in the suttas, but that's just a way of classifying what's happening in the moment, that in fact the hindrances generally run and circle around one another to the point that it's all mixed together. That greed and ill will are actually 2 of the hindrances. Hello, Carl. Good to see you. And restlessness, worry, and let us say lethargy, a negative form of have no energy, nothing to do, and you could also refer to it kind of boredom. But you can also see that boredom is a form of restlessness. And you could also say that worry and restlessness are generally listed together as the hindrances, but you can then see that worry is a form of doubt. That we're worried about something, which means we're doubtful about the outcome, etc. So the hindrances are not chopped up in certain divisions, never to be brought together again. Think about it as a pie, like a pizza pie that has 5 different pieces, or maybe you can think of the pie as 5 different ingredients. And so you don't separate the cheese from the pepperoni from the bread, but they're there and identifiable, and that we can identify these hindrances, and that we can always think of the hindrances, primarily the way to think of the hindrances in the sense of hindrances is anything that hinders you from ... is a hindrance. Now let's look at what is the ... All right. Well, we can say it in many different ways. What is it that hinders you from being on top of your game? What hinders you from being happy? What hinders you from being blissful? What hinders you from being satisfied? Or if you want to get airy-fairy about it, what hinders you from being enlightened right now? So, doubt, then, almost always has the quality of confusion with it. And that the Buddha talks about confusion in the sense of a mixed bag. Normally, when we are confused about the way that we feel, that means that we've got both pleasure and pain, or sukha, asukha, mixed together. Or we have, let us say, things mixed up in the sense even wholesome and unwholesome can get mixed up together. And so recognizing that there is doubt is an important quality, and that almost always doubt comes in the form of questions, in the sense of, well, what do I do now? What do I do next? How to practice, etc., like that. Now, one of the things that happens quite often, especially with a new student, is that I teach them how to practice, what it is that we do to practice. And basically, we can say that right off, is to remove the hindrances. That's what is the practice. And the student will stay right there in those hindrances, asking questions instead of starting to practice. And so, how do we start to practice if there is, in fact, the doubt? Is that the first thing to learn then is that correct practice is easy, but there are some say 40, and some say there's dozens, and some say there's hundreds, and some says they're infinite and all that. But the Buddha says that there's only one practice. Bhikkhu Buddhadasa, in fact, got into trouble in Thailand many, many years ago, back in the 1930s, when he specified that the Buddha only taught one meditation, one practice. And he referred to that as anapanasati. And there was a big kerfuffle at that time, and it caused a literature search by the school that taught Pali. It was part of Thammasat University at the time, and there's a Pali studies that is almost always full of monks, and that it's a 9-year course in Pali studies. And so the best Pali students and the best Pali professors in Thailand felt challenged when when Bhikkhu Buddhadasa says there's only one form of meditation. And the research results was that Bhikkhu Buddhadasa was actually correct, that these people who talk about it in the sense of 40 different meditations were just talking about 40 things that wound up being grouped together as 40 meditations in a book called the Visuddhimagga. But that if you look down through that group of 40, you'll find the 4 jhanas, not 8, just 4. But those are not actually each individual one is a meditation, but rather is a sequence. The big group is a group of 10, and that was the charnel ground meditations. Well, guess what? That's just one meditation, not 10. If you die and they lay your corpse out in the sun, it's going to go through various stages, livid, swollen, etc., like that, down to bones that are connected, then bones that are scattered, and then no bones at all. Hello, Martin. And Daniel and Carl and all those who have joined since we started the call. So, in fact, the charnel ground meditations are not separate meditations. And then another group of them was the Brahma Viharas, and that they are also a sequence with Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha, but they're actually not meditations in and of themselves. They're more the results of correct practice. And then the next groups would be what they call kasinas. And that some places in the suttas they're listed as brown and white. In the Pali language, there is one word for blue-green. And almost always the Westerners will translate it as blue, but in fact he's talking about green in the sense of green leaves. And so you can stitch leaves together and get a kasina. And then if you have those green leaves that you keep looking at it week after week, it turns yellow and then brown. And so here's where all of those colors come from. It's still a sequence. They're not separate meditations. And so this is the explanation of that the Buddha only taught one thing, and that we can say then that a hindrance is anything that interrupts or interferes with your correct practice, and doubt is one of them. You can also go so far as to use other words for this hindrances. Often the word obstruction is used. And in fact, the word obstruction in the Pali, I forgot which word the hindrances is narava, Panchanarva, which means five of them, but obstructions is a word that's often substituted for that. And then we can also say that words or thoughts or whatever state that we're in that is unwholesome is also a hindrance. So hindrances, obstructions, and unwholesome are all the same thing. They all three obstruct us or hinder us from being in a wholesome state of mind. So, with that as an introduction, by the way, does anybody have any questions so far? All right, good. That means that we could proceed. So, on an individual level, then, we can now go directly to correct practice, starting with, and I'll do it this way, there are two suttas that go hand in hand with correct practice. One of them is 117 in the Majjhima Nikaya, and one is 118 in the Majjhima Nikaya, with the tip of the hat as a third item on the list, which would be 119 on the Majjhima Nikaya. Now, the 118 is the Anapanasati Sutta, but the one that we always start out with is the Great 40, 117. Now, 117 actually is a really excellent coverage of the Eightfold Noble Path, the entire path, all in one sutta, where the Buddha starts off talking about that we're looking for, let us say, he's talking about right unification of mind, which is the word in Pali is samadhi, and the way that I'm using it does not translate into concentration, but rather the right way of using the word samadhi is right unification of mind, wholeness, togetherness, oneness. And I'll use the example of an alarm clock. The guy goes into the attic and he finds his grandfather's old alarm clock. And so he takes it down, he cleans it up, he polishes it, he takes all the dust off, he oils all of the things, he sets the spring right, takes the rust off, etc., like that, and puts the clock back together so that it is now functioning correctly. Okay, so a well-functioning, well-oiled together clock that doesn't have any dirt between the gears and other things like that then would be considered samadhi. However, if he took grandfather's clock out of the attic and wanted to concentrate it, he'd take a pinball hammer or maybe a sledgehammer to it and get it into a tight little package. All right? This is the way that we have to think of is that the word samadhi does not mean making things tight or concentrated, but rather correct, oiled correctly, functioning correctly, etc., like that. That it's actually the clock, you could say then, is functioning correctly. And so this is what we're going to be doing with the mind. And in the beginning of the sutta, the Buddha says that he's going to be teaching right noble samadhi, sama area samadhi, with its features and constituent components. This is an important point. Okay, the teaching of the Buddha is to get the mind together, to get it organized, to get it functioning correctly, to get it to where it ticks and it talks. And that the rest of the Eightfold Path is, let us say, requisites and features. And we'll go over the distinction between requisites and features in just a moment. And now we can also say that when we are practicing the components of the Eightfold Noble Path that lead to right area samadhi, that's where the practice of anapanasati comes into play. So, after we go for that part of the sutta, the next part of the sutta, the Buddha talks about that right noble viewing comes first. Now, it's translated as right noble view, and many people mistake that. They think that a view is like a worldview or a concept or a way of looking at things, an attitude. But really, no, what we're actually meaning here is right noble looking. It's more of a verb than a noun. And then the Buddha talks about three kinds of three kinds of view. One is wrong view, and wrong view can often be considered what we would have as modern atheism, in the sense that there's no results, there is no karma, there is no mom and pop, there is no spiritual people, there is no this or that or the other, and I can go out and do anything I want to do, and there will be no results of my actions. And then we have on the other side of that, and by the way, every kid starts off that way. Every one of us learn to lie because we see our parents lie, and we start to lie because we think we can get away with it. And generally we do. And then we wind up, at least some of us, and the statistics are in the United States that right now there's more than 300,000 unsolved murders. So a lot of people are getting away with a lot of stuff. And that's the wrong view, that we can get away with anything. Because guess what? You might have killed somebody and didn't get caught with that one, so you killed somebody else, you went on the spree, and eventually you got caught. Then you got tried for the new one, and that string of events that you just had, they're still unsolved. So the statistics are not a good indicator that it's okay to go do whatever you want to do, because there's no results to it. Now, there is also the other crowd, we'll call them the grandpas in the room, who say to the kids, oh no, you can't get away with it. That you've got a mommy and a daddy who's going to spank you when they catch you. You've got laws, you've got religions. In fact, if what we've got really is that we're going to get police, we're going to get an army, we're going to get teachers, we're going to get all kinds of people that are going to start watching you kids to make sure that you don't get away with it. And if that doesn't work, we're going to go get a priest. And the priest is going to teach you that no matter what happens, you're not going to get away with it. Now, the Buddha refers to this as ordinary right view. Why? Because a wrong view destroys society. You can see it in our politics. Look how many politicians think that they can get away with lying. Look how many politicians think they can get away with attacking another country. Look how many politicians think that they can get away with bribery. Well, they may think that they've gotten away with it, but it still is on their mind. It still hurts them, and basically it harms society. In fact, people are beginning to see that our society is falling apart because it's so corrupt. And so this is where religion comes in. Religion is coming in to say, oh no, you can't get away with it, with the additional phrase of, no matter what. The Hindus have it in the form of the law of karma, which is good action gives good results and bad action gives bad results, no matter what. Even if you die, you're still going to get punished. In fact, the joke is after 300 years, the karma machine is going to dig you up out of your grave just to kick your ass. That we can't get away with it. But if you'll notice, both wrong view and right, ordinary right view, both are not liberating. Both of them do not solve the problem. Right ordinary right view has not solved wrong view. But in fact, in some ways, it makes it worse. Because when the parents or the old grandpa says you can't get away with it no matter what, guess what the little kid's going to say? You watch. You watch me. I'm going to get away with it no matter what. All right. And so this duality then is there. Somebody mentioned about black and white and right and wrong. I think it was you, Ivan. Here's your classic case of it. The right and the wrong is actually ordinary right view and ordinary wrong view. Now, let's go to the real issue, and that is observation, looking. It's not a view, it's not a story. The ordinary right view is a viewpoint, it's a story, just like wrong view. However, when we're correctly doing it, noble right view then is a viewing, it's a verb, it's looking. Here's an example. The kid goes to Walmart to shoplift, and he's very careful. He's looking to make sure that the cops are not looking. He knows where the cameras are and all kinds of things. He's got several tricks up his sleeve, including the merchandise that he stole. And he walks out of Walmart thinking that he got away with it. But really, while he is in there shopping and lifting, isn't he worried that he might get caught? Isn't he, in fact, having the effects of his bad behavior already there? He feels bad. He's not in bliss. That in fact, while he is in there shoplifting, he's actually making up a bunch of stories. And one of the stories that the kids tell themselves is, Walmart's too expensive. I've already paid for too much stuff. Now I get this one free. They owe it to me. All the while he's watching to make sure that nobody sees him do it. Or maybe he joins a gang and the gang says, together, we can go get away with it. But really, joining that gang makes everybody's life much worse. So let's look at what the Buddha actually meant then by right noble viewing is to, when you're in Walmart thinking about shoplifting, you can have the thought of, look at how I feel while I'm thinking about doing something that I know is wrong and wanting to get away with it. And I'm a better person than that, and so I'll put the stuff back and walk out of the store happy, knowing that I haven't done anything wrong, I haven't hurt anybody. And so this is the way that we can begin to have our own thoughts, that while we're sitting alone, we can think of, let's have thoughts that are not trying to get away with it. Thoughts of revenge, thoughts of hurting other people, thoughts of getting something, thoughts of what's the stock market doing. All of those kind of thoughts are, in fact, unwholesome. Now, we can go to the doubt. Look how much doubt there's going to be. Yes, go ahead.
It's a thought of gain and loss, right? It's still, gain and loss is kind of like stuck in duality of right or wrong.
Yes, gain and loss is in fact this right view and wrong view. Ordinary right view and wrong view is gain and loss. This is also what doubt is. It's gain and loss. It's somewhere between gain and loss, not exactly stuck in the middle, but somewhere else besides gain and loss is the quality of enough. There's enough. I don't have to be caught in gain and loss. And that you can also see that doubt is also based in gain and loss. That's a good point, Ivan. Thanks for bringing that up. It's all about gain and loss. That's the duality. We can apply that doubt in the sense of, am I practicing correctly? And while you're asking the question, am I practicing correctly? Guess what? You're not. Because you're asking questions, you're in doubt. But if you're, instead of asking questions of, is this correct? Am I doing it right? We can say, wow, this is really great. I don't have to ask, is it right or not? I can just enjoy myself. Everything is already okay. What I've got right now is enough. Now we've changed it from unwholesome thoughts into wholesome thoughts. Also, doubt has the quality of, am I good enough? That in fact, I'll mention that there are 3 stages of doubt. The first stage of doubt, the one that almost everyone has, especially the kid who is running away from whatever tragedy he just caused, is, who can I get to get me out of this? Now, when he grows up and he wants to go into the Dhamma, he wants to get a guru, he's going to say, what guru is good enough? Who can get me out of it? I need help. I need help from my mommy. I need help from my teachers. And as I grow up, I need help from my professors. I need help from my boss. I need help from the IRS. I need an accountant. I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer for several reasons. I need help. Now, this idea of I need help actually comes from the position of being a victim. I'm not good enough. I need help. Who can I get to help me? That's quite a doubt, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So, something will happen. Maybe somebody will point it out to you that you're not going to get anybody to help you. There's no Jesus floating in the air. There's no Jesus, a plastic Jesus riding on the dashboard of my truck is going to help you. Mommy's not going to help you. That old senior monk is not going to help you. No guru is going to help you. That new girl down the street, the one that works at 7-Eleven, the one that's got a club foot and a broken eye, she's not going to help you. Nobody's going to help you. That's the first layer of doubt, is we have to come out of nobody is going to help me. No Dhamma book is going to help me. No video is going to help me. No prayers are going to help me. Nothing is going to help me other than perhaps right noble practice, but then guess who's doing the practice? But ultimately, nobody's going to help you. So that leaves us then to the second layer of doubt. What is the second layer of doubt? Is that, oh, am I up to it? Can I do it? Because that's still the victim's position. Am I up to it? Am I good enough? And in there is all those questions about how to practice correctly, because you're still looking for the practice to do it for you. Oh, if I only practice correctly. Well, what's correct practice? You see, all of those kind of thoughts are still not wholesome because you're still in doubt about how to practice rather than actually doing the practice. Now, there's the third level of doubt, and we need to get into some other things before we talk about it, but I will talk about it in the sense of at least introducing the third layer of doubt is this the right way to do it? Now, in the suttas, the Buddha talks about it in the sense of the eradication of doubt about what is and what is not the path. This phrase, what is and what is not the path, is in several suttas. One of them is in Sutta number 24 in the relay race. We have to get over the doubt about how to practice. And the only way to get over the doubt about how to practice is by practicing well enough to get success. Success, satisfaction. That's what's going to show you that you are, in fact, practicing correctly, that the Eightfold Noble Path is the only thing that I know of that actually works. But it's not an Eightfold Noble Path that you see in a book and maybe you put it up on the shrine, you go and light candles and you put some guru's picture on it and you say, "Limby Jimmy Gobby Gobby, oh, Eightfold Noble Path, thank you for helping." It doesn't work that way. You gotta go do the practice until it works without a doubt. Until you're beyond the doubt. And so look how long these hindrances will last, because this takes quite a long time for you to actually stop your doubting about who's going to do it for you. Stop doubting about are you up to it, because right now when you're doubting are you up to it, of course you're not up to it. You're still in the victim's position. We have to actually practice being in that noble state of mind of everything is okay, everything is fine, having wholesome thoughts. Doubt is an unwholesome questioning, and we need to see those doubts so that we can stop doubting and says, never mind about whether I'm doing it right or not. Let me just enjoy this moment. That's the whole thing right there. That in fact, if you really understood what I was saying, you can turn your camera off and you can go practice and you'll never need to see another Dhamma dude. You can just go into seclusion and say, right now, am I okay? Yeah, dog, I'm okay. Everything is just fine. But guess what? You're going to forget. You're not going to hear what I have to say and just do it and keep doing it and keep doing it. You're going to forget. The human mind is like that. You'll start thinking about that club-footed blind girl down at 7-Eleven again. And then, by the way, that's an old George Carlin joke. We got the hots for that girl. And so we've stopped thinking about right noble practice and start thinking about the doubt of, can I get her? And if I do get her, will she solve my problems? And so you see the doubt coming back. The doubt will keep coming back. The question is, can you remember to keep looking? Because the looking is the important thing. Can you look to see the doubt right now? Because if you can see it right now, only then do you have a chance or a choice of being able to change it. Now, Bhikkhu Buddhadasa has said many times that the Buddha's model is a change model. Christianity is not a change model. It's an, oh, save me from my own sin model. The Islamic model is, you're going to go to hell unless you've gotten some mercy someplace. And mercy's not cheap. You got to suck up to a whole lot of people to get mercy. But mercy in the reality is not going to do it for you. Nothing's going to do it for you other than you have to keep remembering to look at what you're doing and make a change over and over and over again. Those three things run in circle around each other, so the sutta says. What is that? To remember to look at what you're thinking, look at what you're feeling, look at your attitude, look at your body posture, look at what's happening. Is the body relaxed? Are you feeling happy? Are you satisfied? Or is there fear? Is there doubt? Is there worry? Over and over and over again, we have to practice to look at what you're doing and then make a change out of the hindrances into wholesome state. So, this is the Eightfold Noble Path. Now, when we practice these three things on the Eightfold Noble Path, after a while, a fourth item comes on. And this is what we refer to as right intention, but a better word for it is right attitude. That we're actually, by using wholesome thoughts, we begin to change our sucker's attitude, our victim's attitude, our loser's attitude. We begin to change that into, I can do this. I can stay satisfied longer than 1 minute at a time. I can build up that practice and begin to feel satisfied and joyful and happy because I'm practicing over and over and over again. We develop a winner's attitude. In the Pali, this is referred to, by the way, as Samasankappa, right, noble attitude, the attitude of a winner. It's only with this right noble attitude that, hey, I've got this wired, do we really begin to deal with that third level of doubt about not whether I'm up to it or not, just doing it, you can see you're up to it. But when you get that Samasankappa, when you get to that mojo, when you get that joy juice, when you get that attitude going that, hey, I'm a winner, I've got this wired, that's when the doubt about is this the right path, the knowledge and vision of what is correct path and what is not the correct path. That's where that happens. All right, we'll stop there and take some questions. Okay, Ivan, go right ahead.
Yeah, I oftentimes find this loser attitude. I'm not sure if it's because I'm not looking correctly. Sometimes it just comes like it very unexpected. It at least I just want to say I think I'm doing the right practice, and then sometimes it just comes.
That's the right way to do it. Instead of say sometimes I'm not practicing correctly, the right thing to say then is sometimes I'm doing it. Wow, look at that! Yippee! I can do it sometimes. You see the difference? Yeah. One's the loser. Sometimes I can't do it. Versus the winner's attitude. Sometimes I can.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's the way that we have to start looking at this. Not the word sometimes is not the issue. The word is I can't. Sometimes I can't is a loser's attitude. And then sometimes I can. That's the winner's attitude. Okay? When we have these four qualities working together in unison, when we have right noble remembering, sati, that's why they call it anapanasati, is look at what you're doing in the sense of the four foundations of mindfulness. Now, in the Great 40 in 117, where we're covering the Eightfold Noble Path, it normally just talks about wholesome thoughts. But in the Anapanasati Sutta, it breaks it down into the whole show, the Satipatthana, the four foundations of what we're going to be mindful of: the body, the feelings, your attitude, and your thoughts. So We put the Anapanasati Sutra right in place there with these 4 items so that I can relax the body. I can feel satisfied. I can feel successful. I have the right noble attitude of being a winner, and I can control the thoughts to being wholesome thoughts. When we have these 4 items together, that's where the right samadhi comes in. These 4 items put together with the right attitude and the right looking, the right remembrance, and the right noble effort to change, when we put those 4 things together, that's actually what cleans your clock. That's the way that we get the mind together, is with these 4 things. It takes attitude. The real attitude is being a winner. Now, I have heard someone say that everyone is an emperor, a king. Everyone is in charge. Everyone is an emperor of their own pile of dirt. Martin, you heard me say this. Yes, everyone is an emperor of their own pile of dirt. But how many of the people do you know that is actually feeling buried under their pile of dirt? Okay. What's your pile of dirt? Your hindrances. You could also say it, your past. Everything that's old. And what happens to stuff when it gets old? It turns to shit. So what we could really say then is everyone is an emperor of their own pile of shit. And here we are buried, or half buried under it. This is the doubt. That's a pile of shit. Worry is a pile of shit. Now, there's also the possibility that you're starting to practice the Dhamma just a little bit, and now you can see yourself clawing your way out of your pile of shit. Well, that's a lot of work. That's not right noble effort. Right noble effort is to just pop right to the top. Don't try to claw your way through your doubt. Just pop right to the top. Be right on top of your own world. Being on top of the world. This is what it's about, is having that right noble attitude to be on top of the world. Without a doubt. Here you are. And then you'll forget. And that club foot will come to mind. Never mind, start again. Over and over and over again, we have to keep practicing because the mind is not unified completely yet. But you can get it unified for a little while, and then you'll forget again. So we have to come back and come back and come back and come back, but we don't have to come back through the doubt. We can immediately come back right through right noble effort to just pop right to the top again. And pretty soon, you get a kind of a levitation. You begin to take yourself lightly. And when you take yourself lightly, you'll float right up to the top. In fact, there's an old Christian story that angels can fly because they take themselves so lightly. All right, so take your pile of shit lightly. Just float right up to the top. This is the actual noble practice. Now, one more thing about that Eightfold Noble Path is that when you are in a state where you are satisfied, when you're on top of the world, when you don't want anything, guess what? Then your behavior becomes exemplary. If you don't want anything, you're not going to hurt anybody to get it. If you don't want anything, if you're satisfied, you're unlikely to tell lies about people and gossip. They're all okay. I'm okay. They're okay. Don't have to talk about them. So we don't gossip. We don't lie. We don't take alcohol or other things like that. We don't keep thinking about the club-footed girl at 7-Eleven. We don't go down to visit her because we're okay without her. Everything is okay. Everything is fine. And we keep practicing like that over and over and over again, and it develops the habits. The habit of being okay. The habit of being just fine. The habit of actually continuing to practice puts you in a state of joy, in a state of bliss. Everything is fine. Isn't that marvelous? Everything is okay. Not a problem in the world. Putin will get what Putin's got coming to him. He's got his own karma bag. I don't have to wish anything about Putin. Same with Zelensky and Biden and Trump and the club-footed girl at 7-Eleven. Everybody can take care of themselves. I don't have to worry about any of them. I'm all right. I'm okay. This is actually then the proof of that right, noble Samadhi mind. When your mind is together, you see the world in those lights. When you were a victim, you're a victim to the world. But when you were a winner, the world is also just okay. I'm okay. Everything is okay. So this is how we practice, is seeing the world as okay. Everything is fine, not a worry in the world. If you see I'm okay, but the world is not okay, then look what kind of questions and doubt about, oh, I can fix it, oh, I can go do this, and oh, no, they'll catch me at it, and all kinds of other things. Look at all of that doubt that keeps coming back. But when you can see you're already okay, and the world is okay, your surroundings are okay. In fact, you can see that you're in your own little paradise. What is the how extensive is the paradise? Generally about 50 meters. If you're in a room, Martin, your room, that's paradise. Mikey, for you, the porch, that's paradise. Chris, the what? That's paradise. Let's not go further than that, because if we do, the doubt will come back. So we can see that we've got our own little world, and our world is our world of the senses. What you can see, hear, touch, taste, feel. That's your world. Let's stay in it. Let's stay in our paradise. It's an okay place to be. But we have to practice, because otherwise Putin and Trump and the club-footed girl and all kinds of things are going to come invading back in the mind. And guess what? In reality, they're not even here. They're out there someplace. They're over in the past. They're out in the future. But if we can stay right here, right now, everything is marvelous if we have those kind of wholesome thoughts. So, does anybody have any questions now? Wow, we're ready to practice. Okay. Everybody take a deep breath. Come on, do it. Take a deep breath. Isn't it nice? Not a problem, not a worry in the world. Everything is just okay the way that it is. Amrit, are you okay?
Yes, I am. I'm great.
You're good. How about you, Tom? Tell us about it. This was your question. Did he just leave?
He just had to go, yeah.
Yeah,
He put a message in chat.
He said he had to go.
All right. How about you, Martin? What do you think about today's talk?
Very good. Thank you very much, Dhammarato.
Carl, how about you? Carl,
I don't see any call in the call.
nothing to say, he says. How about you, Michael?
Oh,
Nothing to say. I'm in paradise.
Ah. Daniel, you got a monk's friend here.
yeah, Lumpy Chris.
Yeah, Chris. So, Daniel, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I've been pretty much experiencing it, like what you've been talking about. Slowly, deeper and deeper, like week after week after week. Like every week is like a new. It's like I immerse myself just a little bit more every week, and yeah, it's amazing. That's all I can say. So everybody come to Thailand, or just enjoy your bedroom. That's good enough too.
All right. Well, Mikey, why don't you take this thing home?
No doubt about it. We're in paradise.
No doubts.
So yeah, thank you, friends, for being here today. This is a pleasant Sangha call. If you could go ahead and check out opensanghafoundation.org, create an account, upload a profile picture, and we've been getting a lot of activity on our Sangha group, which you can find by clicking the menu button and clicking community and clicking groups. There's also plenty of other features on the website, such as a Sangha map. We have videos, audio recordings. One of our friends has been doing transcriptions that you can find there too of these Sangha calls.
Got
So yeah,
podcasts,
all
got
sorts
a
of
lot
things.
of audio.
So yeah, go check it out and play with it and have fun.
All right. Does anybody have any last things to say? Ivan, any
I had
last?
some nothing, just really appreciate it. Really fires me up to practice more. Yeah.
All right. Ariane, how about you?
Nothing left to do, just to practice.
Practice, practice. Amrit, how about you? Anything last to say?
I'm practicing right now, free of
All
doubt.
right. That's the best answer I've heard all evening. Excellent. Right. We're doing it. This is it. Wow, what a bunch of winners. Thank you all. I'm really glad to see you. I hope to see you again really soon. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Sangha.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Sangha.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.